Welcome to World Explorer. Tonight we're diving deep into a crisis hiding in plain sight, one that casts a long shadow even over the brightest city that never sleeps. The United States is widely recognized as a global superpower, a beacon of economic might and cultural influence. We see the towering skyscrapers, the bustling streets, the image of the American dream. But what about those for whom that dream has become a nightmare? However, beneath the facade of prosperity and innovation, a harsh reality persists. Across the United States, millions grapple with the daily struggle of homelessness. Families, veterans, individuals from all walks of life, finding themselves without a place to call home. Tonight, we turn our attention to this critical issue plaguing one of America's most iconic states, homelessness, in New York. From the crowded sidewalks of Manhattan to the quieter boroughs, a staggering number of individuals and families navigate the harsh realities of life without a permanent residence. We're going beyond the statistics, beyond the headlines, to understand the human toll of this crisis. To hear the stories that often go unheard, join us as we explore the faces of homelessness in the state of New York. Our journey begins in Syracuse, a city grappling with the harsh realities of economic decline. While it may have the smallest homeless population on our list, with roughly 25 to 30 individuals seeking shelter each night, the situation in Syracuse reveals a deeper struggle. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the human beings behind them. Imagine being a veteran, having served your country, only to find yourself without a roof overhead in the very nation you fought to protect. Syracuse reflects a microcosm of the challenges faced by veterans across the country. Many struggle to reintegrate into civilian life, facing hurdles in securing employment, housing, and essential support systems. The transition can be incredibly difficult, leaving some veterans vulnerable to homelessness.
Local organizations are working tirelessly to combat this issue. The Housing First and From DA initiatives, spearheaded by passionate individuals and community groups, offer a glimmer of hope. These programs prioritize providing immediate housing without preconditions, recognizing that a stable living environment is crucial for individuals to rebuild their lives.
However, progress is often hindered by limited resources and funding. Syracuse, like many cities across America, grapples with allocating sufficient funds to adequately address the multifaceted challenges of homelessness. The need for more affordable housing options, coupled with comprehensive support services, remains paramount.
Despite these challenges, the spirit of compassion shines through in Syracuse. Local communities have rallied around those experiencing homelessness, organizing food drives, collecting warm clothing, and offering a helping hand to those in desperate need.
The situation in Syracuse underscores a crucial point. Homelessness is not an isolated issue. It's a complex societal challenge that demands a multifaceted approach, one that addresses the root causes of poverty, lack of affordable housing, and inadequate support systems. As we delve deeper into our exploration of homelessness across New York State, keep the stories of those we've encountered in Syracuse close to heart. Their struggles remind us of the urgent need for empathy, understanding, and a collective commitment to finding lasting solutions. We now turn our attention to Staten Island, the often overlooked borough of New York City. While it may be known for its residential neighborhoods and suburban feel, Staten Island faces its own battle with homelessness, one that often remains hidden from the public eye. With a homeless population exceeding 26 individuals, the need for compassion and support is just as urgent here as in any other part of the city. Staten Island's lower population density can mask the true extent of the crisis. Homelessness here might not be as visible as in other boroughs, but the struggles faced by those without a place to call home are no less real. Behind the facade of suburban tranquility lies a growing need for affordable housing, accessible healthcare, and comprehensive support services.
In recent years, Staten Island has taken significant steps to address the issue. 3 new homeless shelters, strategically located across the borough, have opened their doors, offering a beacon of hope to those in need. These facilities provide more than just a roof overhead, they offer a lifeline. The shelter on Van Duzer Street, with its capacity to house 200 families, or approximately 500 individuals, represents a substantial investment in combating homelessness. 2 additional shelters, located on Highland Boulevard and Tompkins Avenue, provide crucial accommodations for women and individuals, respectively. These shelters stand as a testament to the borough's commitment to providing safe havens for its most vulnerable residents. They offer not only a place to sleep, but also access to essential services such as counseling, job training, and healthcare, empowering individuals to rebuild their lives.
Nonprofit organizations like People's Path play a vital role in filling the gaps where government resources may fall short. Driven by compassion and a deep understanding of the challenges faced by those experiencing homelessness, People's Path provides essential services, advocating for the rights of the homeless and offering a helping hand to those in desperate need. The situation in Staten Island highlights the importance of a multi-pronged approach to combating homelessness. It requires a collaborative effort involving government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and community members, all working together to provide not only immediate relief, but also long-term solutions that address the root causes of this complex issue. Our journey now leads us to Albany, the capital of New York State. Home to the iconic New York State Capitol and renowned for its rich history and political significance, Albany presents a stark contrast between its image as a center of power and progress and the harsh realities faced by those struggling with homelessness within its midst. With an estimated 750 individuals lacking stable housing, Albany's homeless population paints a sobering picture of the challenges facing this capital city. The juxtaposition of grand government buildings and the sight of individuals seeking shelter on the streets serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of homelessness.
One of the primary drivers of homelessness in Albany, as in many cities across the nation, is the ever-increasing cost of living. As housing prices continue to rise, many residents find themselves priced out of the market, struggling to keep a roof over their heads. The shortage of affordable housing options further exacerbates the crisis.
Despite efforts to increase the availability of affordable housing units, the demand continues to outpace supply, leaving many individuals and families with limited options. To combat this growing crisis, the Albany government implemented the Albany Project Hope, an initiative aimed at providing swift intervention and support to those experiencing homelessness. This program represents a step in the right direction, but like many social programs, it often faces funding constraints that limit its impact.
The situation in Albany underscores a critical point. Homelessness is not merely an issue of individual circumstance. It is a reflection of broader societal challenges. The widening gap between the haves and the have-nots, coupled with inadequate social safety nets, creates a breeding ground for homelessness.
Despite the challenges, there are glimmers of hope in Albany. Local organizations and community groups work tirelessly to provide essential services to those in need, from offering warm meals and clothing to providing job training and mental health support. The fight against homelessness in Albany, as in any city, requires a multi-pronged approach. It demands a commitment to increasing affordable housing options, expanding access to mental health and addiction treatment services, and creating pathways for economic opportunity for all residents. Our exploration of homelessness in New York State now takes us to Rochester, a city that once stood as a beacon of industrial innovation and academic excellence. Home to giants like Kodak and the prestigious University of Rochester, Rochester today grapples with a stark reality: a growing homeless population struggling to find its footing in a city wrestling with economic transition. With an estimated 883 individuals lacking stable housing, Rochester's homeless crisis lays bare the challenges faced by a city striving to reinvent itself while ensuring the well-being of all its residents. The decline of the manufacturing sector, coupled with high unemployment rates and a shortage of affordable housing, has created a perfect storm, leaving many vulnerable to homelessness.
The situation has reached a tipping point in recent months, with homeless encampments emerging as flashpoints for safety concerns. Fires, often sparked by makeshift heating devices within these encampments, pose a serious threat not only to those living within them, but also to surrounding neighborhoods.
Local authorities have attempted to address the issue by relocating individuals from these encampments to shelters. However, these efforts are often hampered by a lack of adequate shelter space and insufficient resources to provide long-term support. The dismantling of Peace Village, a prominent homeless encampment, exemplifies the complexities of addressing this issue.
While authorities cited safety concerns as the rationale for shutting down the encampment, the lack of a clear and comprehensive plan to provide alternative housing options resulted in many individuals returning to the streets.
The situation in Rochester underscores the need for a more compassionate and effective approach to addressing homelessness. Simply relocating individuals from encampments without addressing the underlying causes of their homelessness is akin to placing a Band-Aid on a gaping wound.
Rochester needs a multi-pronged strategy that prioritizes increasing the availability of affordable housing, expanding access to mental health and addiction treatment services, and creating pathways for economic opportunity for all residents.
The city's rich history of innovation and its spirit of resilience offer a glimmer of hope, but it will require a collective effort from government leaders, community organizations, and residents alike to create a Rochester where everyone has a place to call home. We arrive now in Brooklyn, a borough brimming with cultural vibrancy, artistic expression, and a fierce sense of community. Yet beneath the surface of this dynamic borough lies a stark reality, a growing homeless population struggling to survive amidst the shadows of Brooklyn's rapid gentrification and soaring living costs. With an estimated 1,157 individuals experiencing homelessness, Brooklyn's story is one of stark contrasts, a tale of two cities existing within the same borough. On one hand, we see the gleaming towers of new developments, trendy restaurants, and a thriving arts scene. On the other hand, we witness the growing despair of those pushed to the margins, priced out of their homes, and left to navigate the harsh realities of life on the streets.
The face of homelessness in Brooklyn is diverse. We meet families struggling to make ends meet, their paychecks unable to keep pace with the rising cost of housing. We encounter individuals battling mental health issues or addiction, lacking the support systems needed to rebuild their lives. We see veterans who served our country with honor, now grappling with the invisible wounds of war and the struggle to find their place in civilian life.
The issue of homelessness in Brooklyn is further complicated by the borough's changing landscape. Gentrification, while often touted for its revitalization efforts, has also led to the displacement of longtime residents, many of whom find themselves priced out of their homes and pushed into precarious living situations.
The tension is palpable, particularly in neighborhoods like Bensonhurst, where the proposed placement of new homeless shelters has sparked protests and reignited debates about the distribution of resources and the responsibility of communities to care for their most vulnerable members.
In Sunset Park, small business owners voice their concerns about the impact of homelessness on their livelihoods. Discarded needles, makeshift tents erected along sidewalks, and a sense of unease among customers paint a picture of the challenges faced by businesses operating in close proximity to areas with high concentrations of homeless individuals.
These struggles highlight the disconnect between Brooklyn's economic progress and the harsh realities faced by those left behind. As the borough continues to evolve, it must grapple with the question of how to create a more inclusive and equitable society, one that uplifts all its residents, not just a select few.
Our journey through the heart of New York's homeless crisis now takes us to Queens, a borough celebrated for its rich tapestry of cultures, its bustling immigrant communities, and its reputation as a beacon of diversity. Yet beneath the surface of this vibrant borough lies a sobering reality: a growing homeless population struggling to find its footing amidst the shadows of Queens' rapid development and soaring housing costs. With an estimated 1,219 individuals currently experiencing homelessness, Queens faces a crisis that threatens to unravel the very fabric of its diverse communities. The borough's skyrocketing rent prices, fueled by a combination of factors including gentrification, limited housing stock, and a growing population, have pushed many working-class families and individuals to the brink of homelessness.
It's a cruel irony. Many of those experiencing homelessness in Queens are employed, working tirelessly to provide for themselves and their families. But their wages, often stagnant in the face of rising living costs, are simply not enough to keep pace with the exorbitant rents demanded in a borough where affordable housing options are dwindling at an alarming rate.
While transitional housing programs and rental assistance initiatives exist, these efforts are often overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the crisis. The demand far outstrips the available resources, leaving many individuals and families with few options but to navigate the shelter system or, worse yet, find themselves on the streets.
Adding to the complexity of the issue is the concentration of homeless shelters in certain communities within Queens. Community Districts 1 and 12, for example, bear a disproportionate burden, housing the majority of migrant shelters within the borough. This concentration has sparked concerns among residents who feel overwhelmed by the rapid influx of homeless individuals into their neighborhoods.
The conversion of the Wyndham Garden Hotel in Ridgewood Park into a homeless shelter exemplifies the tensions surrounding this issue. While the move was intended to address the urgent need for shelter space, it generated considerable pushback from local residents who felt excluded from the decision-making process and voiced concerns about the potential impact on their community.
Jamaica Station, a bustling transportation hub, has become a de facto overnight refuge for many homeless individuals, seeking a semblance of safety and shelter from the elements. While their presence underscores the urgent need for more comprehensive solutions, it also creates challenges for commuters and raises concerns about safety and sanitation.
The situation in Queens highlights the need for a more equitable and compassionate approach to addressing homelessness, one that recognizes the inherent dignity of every individual, regardless of their housing status, and prioritizes solutions that foster inclusivity and opportunity for all. Our exploration of homelessness in New York takes us now to Buffalo, a city steeped in history, renowned for its industrial past, and celebrated for its proximity to the majestic Niagara Falls. Yet, beneath the surface of this resilient city lies a sobering reality: a growing homeless population struggling to survive, particularly during the unforgiving winter months, as temperatures plummet and the icy grip of winter tightens its hold.
With an estimated 1,432 individuals experiencing homelessness, Buffalo faces a crisis exacerbated by its harsh climate. The city's long, cold winters pose a significant threat to those without stable housing, turning the simple act of staying warm into a daily struggle for survival.
The decline of the manufacturing sector, once a cornerstone of Buffalo's economy, has left a lasting impact, contributing to high unemployment rates and a shortage of affordable housing options. These factors, coupled with insufficient social safety nets, have created a perfect storm, pushing many vulnerable individuals and families into homelessness.
As temperatures drop, the demand for shelter space in Buffalo skyrockets. Emergency shelters, often operating at or above capacity, struggle to keep pace with the influx of individuals and families seeking refuge from the elements. Those unable to secure a bed in a shelter are left with few options, often resorting to makeshift encampments, abandoned buildings, or even seeking shelter in public spaces like bus stations and subway tunnels.
The city's efforts to address the crisis, while well-intentioned, have often proven ineffective. Clearing homeless encampments, a common practice in many cities, does little to address the root causes of homelessness, and often results in individuals simply relocating to other areas, perpetuating a cycle of displacement.
The situation in Buffalo underscores the need for a more compassionate and comprehensive approach to addressing homelessness, one that goes beyond simply managing the crisis and instead focuses on providing long-term solutions that address the systemic issues at its core.
Buffalo needs a multi-pronged strategy that prioritizes increasing the availability of affordable housing, expanding access to mental health and addiction treatment services, and creating pathways for economic opportunity for all residents. The city's history of resilience and its strong sense of community offer hope, but it will require a collective effort from government leaders, community organizations, and residents alike to create a Buffalo where everyone has a safe and warm place to call home. Our journey through New York City's homeless crisis now takes us to the Bronx, a borough celebrated for its vibrant culture, its iconic Yankee Stadium, and its reputation as the birthplace of hip-hop. Yet, beneath the surface of this dynamic borough lies a sobering reality, a persistent and pervasive homeless crisis that has plagued the Bronx for decades, reflecting deep-rooted socioeconomic disparities and a lack of adequate resources to address the needs of its most vulnerable residents.
With an estimated 1,458 individuals experiencing homelessness, the Bronx carries the heavy burden of having one of the highest poverty rates in New York City. This paradox, a borough celebrated for its cultural contributions while grappling with significant economic hardship, underscores the complexities of homelessness and the systemic issues that perpetuate it.
Generational homelessness is a particularly alarming trend in the Bronx. Many of those experiencing homelessness today are the children of parents who also struggled with homelessness, highlighting the vicious cycle of poverty and displacement that can be difficult to break. Children growing up in shelters or on the streets face immense challenges, often lacking access to stable housing, quality education, and healthcare, which can have long-term consequences for their well-being and future prospects.
Despite having more homeless shelters than any other borough in New York City, the Bronx still struggles to meet the overwhelming demand for shelter space. Overcrowding is a persistent issue. with many shelters operating at or above capacity, forcing individuals and families to endure cramped and often unsanitary living conditions. The lack of privacy, limited access to basic amenities, and the constant stress of living in such close quarters can take a toll on mental and physical health.
Homeless encampments, a visible reminder of the crisis, have become a common sight in public spaces throughout the Bronx, from parks and sidewalks to underpasses and highway overpasses. While city officials have attempted to address the issue by clearing these encampments, these efforts are often met with resistance from homeless individuals who feel they have nowhere else to go.
The situation in the Bronx highlights the urgent need for a more humane and effective approach to addressing homelessness, one that moves beyond simply managing the crisis and instead focuses on breaking the cycle of poverty and displacement by investing in long-term solutions such as affordable housing, job training programs, and mental health and addiction treatment services.
Our journey through New York's homeless crisis now takes us to Manhattan, the beating heart of the city that never sleeps. Renowned for its towering skyscrapers, world-class dining, and unparalleled cultural attractions, Manhattan also grapples with a stark and unsettling reality: a significant and visible homeless population navigating the harsh realities of life on the streets amidst a backdrop of extraordinary wealth and opulence.
With an estimated 4,000 individuals experiencing homelessness, Manhattan's streets offer a stark visual representation of the city's deep socioeconomic divide. Homeless individuals and families, often seeking refuge in subway stations, parks, and doorways, are a constant presence. Their plight impossible to ignore amidst the hustle and bustle of one of the world's most affluent and iconic urban centers.
The face of homelessness in Manhattan is as diverse as the city itself. We encounter individuals struggling with mental health issues, their voices often lost in the cacophony of city life. We meet families, their belongings crammed into shopping carts, their children bearing witness to a reality no child should have to endure. We encounter veterans, their service to our country etched on their faces, now battling the invisible wounds of war and the struggle to find their footing in a society that often fails to provide adequate support.
The city's efforts to address the crisis, while well-intentioned, often feel like a game of whack-a-mole. Regular sweeps are conducted to clear encampments from high-profile areas, pushing homeless individuals from one location to another, but doing little to address the root causes of their plight.
The tunnel near the Hudson River in Upper Manhattan stands as a stark reminder of the city's ongoing struggle to address homelessness effectively. This underground space, intended for pedestrian passage, has been transformed into a makeshift encampment, a subterranean testament to the desperation of those with nowhere else to turn. Residents in nearby buildings complain of blocked sidewalks, unsanitary conditions, and a sense of unease as they navigate their neighborhood. The situation highlights the tension between compassion for those experiencing homelessness and the very real concerns of residents who feel unsafe and unheard.
The situation in Manhattan underscores the need for a more humane and effective approach to addressing homelessness, one that moves beyond simply managing the crisis and instead focuses on providing long-term solutions that address the systemic issues at its core. Manhattan, with its vast resources and spirit of innovation, has the potential to lead the way in developing and implementing innovative solutions to homelessness. But it will require a collective effort from government leaders, community organizations, and residents alike to create a city where everyone has a place to call home.
Our journey through New York State's homeless crisis culminates here, in New York City, a metropolis that embodies both the pinnacle of human achievement and the depths of societal challenges. With an estimated 80,000 individuals experiencing homelessness on any given night, New York City faces a crisis of staggering proportions, a stark reminder that even in a city renowned for its wealth and opportunity, the most vulnerable among us often fall through the cracks. While New York City boasts the largest homelessness response system in the nation, the sheer scale of the crisis continues to outpace the city's ability to provide adequate shelter and support services to those in need. Soaring living costs, stagnant wages, and a shortage of affordable housing options have created a perfect storm, pushing more and more individuals and families into homelessness. The city's shelter system, while providing a crucial safety net for many, is often overwhelmed by the constant influx of those seeking refuge. Overcrowding, inadequate facilities, and a lack of privacy are persistent issues, creating challenging and often dehumanizing living conditions for those who rely on shelters as a last resort. The situation is further complicated by the presence of mole people, an elusive and often overlooked segment of the homeless population estimated to number in the thousands. These individuals, seeking refuge from the harsh realities of life on the streets, have created makeshift homes within the city's labyrinthine network of subway tunnels and abandoned infrastructure. Living conditions in these underground dwellings are often deplorable, lacking basic necessities such as running water, sanitation, and electricity. The dangers are immense, with residents facing risks of disease, fire, and exposure to the elements. Yet, for those who call these underground spaces home, the alternative, life on the streets, is often even more daunting. Addressing the homeless crisis in New York City requires a multifaceted approach that goes beyond simply managing the crisis and instead focuses on breaking the cycle of homelessness by addressing its root causes. This includes investing in affordable housing options, expanding access to mental health and addiction treatment services, and creating pathways for economic opportunity for all New Yorkers. The city's efforts to combat homelessness have been met with mixed results. While progress has been made in certain areas, such as the implementation of Housing First initiatives, which prioritize providing permanent housing to those experiencing homelessness, significant challenges remain. The construction of new shelters, a crucial step in addressing the immediate need for safe havens, often faces pushback from residents concerned about the impact on their neighborhoods. This NIMBYism, not in my backyard mentality, highlights the complexities of addressing homelessness in a city grappling with limited space and resources. The homeless crisis in New York City is a complex and multifaceted issue with no easy solutions. It will require a sustained and collaborative effort from government officials, community organizations, and everyday New Yorkers to create a city where everyone has a safe and affordable place to call home. As our exploration of New York's hidden crisis comes to a close, we're left with a profound sense of urgency. The stories we've uncovered, the individuals we've met, they serve as a powerful reminder that behind the statistics, behind the headlines, are real people, each with their own unique story, their own hopes, their own dreams. Addressing the homelessness crisis in New York State requires a multifaceted approach, one that goes beyond simply managing the crisis and instead focuses on creating lasting solutions. It demands a commitment to increasing affordable housing options, expanding access to mental health and addiction treatment services, and creating pathways for economic opportunity for all. But it also requires something more fundamental, a shift in perspective. We must move beyond viewing homelessness as an individual failing and recognize it for what it truly is, a societal failure. A failure to provide adequate support systems, a failure to address systemic inequalities, a failure to recognize the inherent dignity and worth of every human being, regardless of their housing status.